Hi, welcome to Root Access, the show on GDL about startups. My name is Martin Omander and I work for Google Developer Relations. And today I'm joined by no other than Dawn Dodge, a fellow Googler and longtime investor and startup advocate. By the way, thank you everybody out there for all your great comments and on our YouTube videos. We are actually, Dawn, going to address some of those comments today. Great. So we actually had an episode a couple of weeks ago called Startup Founders Who Say, I have a great idea, but ... So in that episode, you said that entrepreneurs shouldn't be afraid of sharing their ideas or they shouldn't be afraid of getting them stolen. And that generated a lot of comments, great comments. So could you narrow it down for us a bit? Are you saying startups should tell just anybody about their ideas? Isn't that risky business?
Well, I think sharing your ideas with other founders and other investors is a good idea, because generally the people want to help you and they'll give you advice. They'll expose you to things that you haven't thought of. They'll take your idea and make you think about how to use it in a different market segment or with a different customer base or different users. So more times than not, you learn more from sharing your idea than you do by keeping it secret. To the question of, do people steal ideas? Generally, no, they don't, for several reasons. The first one is they're too busy doing their own idea and their own thing to be distracted by your idea. So that's the first reason. People don't generally steal ideas. They might see some concepts in what you're doing or UI approaches or something that might be interesting that they can incorporate into their idea. But I wouldn't classify that as stealing your idea. It's just sort of adopting some principles into their own idea that makes sense for them. So very rarely have I seen any ideas stolen.
I see. One viewer, Hazael Reyes, said that ideas can be stolen. He's seen it many times, and he recommends patenting your idea before it's stolen. Is that something you see among startups?
Well, first of all, no, I don't see ideas stolen very often. But second, to the question of patents, generally they're a waste of time and money. People don't understand how much time it takes to get a patent and how expensive it is in terms of lawyer fees and your own time in writing the patent and all of the defenses to get a patent. It typically takes 2 to 4 years to get a patent issued and can cost from $25,000 to $100,000 for the process of getting a patent. So generally a startup is either out of business or wildly successful and acquired before the patents ever get issued. So unless your idea is really, really new and different, patents don't typically make a lot of sense. And one other point. Let's say you're successful and you get a patent issued to you.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. Now you have to defend it. So if someone violates your patent, now you have to hire lawyers to go defend the patent. So that's going to cost you more time and more money to defend the patent. So it's much more expensive and takes more time than people realize, and generally not worth it.
And you say you have to defend your patent. What happens if you don't defend it?
Then you lose it. Because if someone violates your patent knowingly and openly, then you lose your patent because you didn't defend it.
Right. So big costs that you may not see up front. Interesting. So another viewer, Mr. Binary Code, I love your username by the way, commented, really, so ideas can't be stolen? Tell that to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. So, well, we've all heard these legends, right? How Steve Jobs was allegedly inspired by windowing systems he had seen at Xerox PARC. He built Mac OS, then Bill Gates was inspired by Mac OS to build Windows. Don't those examples show the danger of sharing?
Well, I think the key word there is inspired by. So it wasn't stolen, it wasn't copied exactly, it was inspired by. And by the way, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs also had their ideas copied or inspired. So that's the way software works. That's the way technology works. You take several different ideas and put them together in a new way. They may have been inspired by existing ideas, but you create something new. So if ideas are really stolen, then there are courts that decide those things and award damages and that kind of thing. So I don't think in the startup world stealing ideas is a big problem, and I think inspiration is the key word there. And typically you see ideas that get adopted or adapted or inspired and result in taking that idea and incorporating it into your own product, and probably doesn't compete at all with the original idea.
Oh, I see. I know, Don, you were involved in Napster some years ago. Was that idea stolen? Did you guys steal that idea from anywhere?
Well, Napster got accused of stealing other things, not ideas, but maybe music.
Yeah.
But no, Napster was the basis of several other ideas. So like FTP, the file transfer protocol, that existed before. The instant messaging system and protocol, that existed before. All of those sort of ideas and existed, but in different ways. So all Napster did was took the FTP protocol for file transfer and took the instant messaging kind of concept and a few others and put them together in a way that was totally new. So we didn't invent anything, but we took existing ideas and concepts and put them together in a new way and focused them on a completely new market. So nothing was invented, nothing was stolen, but Napster was a conglomeration of different ideas that created something entirely new. And that's generally what happens. That's what Steve Jobs did with the graphical user interface and what Bill Gates did with Windows. They took existing concepts and just made them into something new and different.
Right. Finally, Don, Matt Pierreas asked, if you're as a startup founder, you're doing something, you have an idea, you've gotten started, and then you notice that somebody else has a patent on your idea. Is that game over? What do you do?
Well, I think it's game over if you're trying to do the same thing in the same market, the same kind of product that is patented. That's probably not a good idea. But if you're starting something that uses the same concepts in a different market, in a different product, you're probably okay for several reasons. First one is startups are so small and insignificant that the patent holder probably will not be aware of you or care about what you're doing, at least initially. Unless you're wildly successful with hundreds of millions of users or hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, they're probably not going to care. Secondly, if you're in a completely different market segment, for example, if the original patent was for something in manufacturing and you use it in entertainment or you use it in retail or something that's sort of a completely different market, generally they're not going to care because it's so expensive to sue and defend a patent. If you're doing something else, it doesn't matter. So it does matter if you're violating a patent that's in the same market with the same kind of product that's going, then you're going to run into trouble, and that probably is game over.
I see. Thank you, Don. And thank you all for watching. Please keep those comments coming in on YouTube, comments or questions you'd like us to pick up in future episodes. Finally, I am also a developer and I build a lot of stuff using Google Cloud Platform. I think it's a great platform and life is too short to build stuff anywhere else. And as a special deal for you, Root Access viewers, we have a $2,000 credit that you can go and get started on the platform. Just follow the on-screen instructions, and good luck on the Cloud Platform. And thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.